Hello, it's Stephen here again. Today we are continuing our lesson on fractions. If you remember last time, we did a few adding up fractions, and one of the fractions we looked at was the half. And here we have the half. The yellow here is a half of the cake that we were talking about, the circle being the cake. Half. And now I've added a few more here. I've made a third that we didn't look at last time. And again, you can imagine it's a third of the cake. So we have a third. And also, I've made 1/6. The blue colour there is 1/6 of the cake. 1/6. And yes, we have another one here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is 1/8. And I think we wrote that one down last time as well. Now, one thing I'd like to mention is when you write a half, we have a top part and a bottom part. So the top part here is the number 1 in the example of a half. So this is the top. And we call the top number the numerator. And also we have the bottom part, the bottom number here, bottom, and we call that the denominator. So the top number is the numerator and the bottom number is the denominator. Now, as I explained in the last lesson, the denominators of two different fractions have to be the same before you add them. So looking at the 1/3 example, 1/3 plus 1/3. Now, we can see in this case that the denominators 3 and 3, they're the same. So that means, yes, we can add them together. We don't have to make any other changes. We can make the calculation. So we've got the denominator the same there. We add up the top numbers, which is 1 here and 1 here, and we end up with 2/3. And so you can see what's happening here. You've got 1/3 in green there and 1/3 in green in white there. If you add them together, then you've got 1, 2. 2 of the 3. And the denominator here, 3, is the number 1, 2, 3 of the cakes that it has been divided into. Okay, let's look at an example where the denominators are not the same. So let's have a look at 1/3 plus 1/6. Okay, now at this moment in time we cannot add them together because the denominators are different, and you cannot add two fractions together when the denominators are different. So we have to look for the common factor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write out the first 3 numbers of the 3 times table. 3, 6, and 9. Okay, so that's for this one. I'm writing out the this number here. I'm writing out the 3 times table so I can find common denominator. And I'm going to do the same here for the number 6. Write out the first 3. 6, 12, 18. Okay, so which number exists in both? Okay, I think it's the number 6, isn't it? The number 6 exists in the 3 times table. Number 6 exists in the 6 times table. It's the first one, so it's quite obvious. So this is the number that we want to transform, we want to be used as the common denominator because it exists in both times tables. So I'm going to have to 1/3 at the moment. The number 1/3 is not in the form we want, so we're going to have to make a change to it. And what we're going to do is we're going to times it by 2 on the bottom, and because we timed it on 2 on the bottom, we have to do times 2 on the top. This is very important because if you don't change the top, you've actually changed the number. But if you do the same operation to the top and the bottom, then 2 over 2 is equal 1. So you haven't actually changed anything if you times the top by 2 and the top by 2 and the bottom by 2, but you have to do it to both of them. So let's have a look what we end up with. We end up with 2 times 1, and 3 times 2 is 6, so we've transformed it to 2 over 6 plus 1 over 6, because this is the first one, so no change there. So now 2 over 6 plus 1 over 6, we've got a common denominator, so we're on our way to finishing off the calculation. 6, 2 plus 1, and we end up with 3 over 6, and we have the answer. 3 over 6 can actually be reduced because going to the 3 times table, 3 and 6 are both in the 3 times table. So what we can do is we can divide the top by 3 and divide the bottom by 3. Again, if you do the same operation to the top and the same operation to the bottom, nothing changes. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, 6 divided by 3 is 2, and the answer is 1/2. And that's what we were looking for. So, what was going on here? By timesing 3 by 2 and 1 by 2, this 1/3 here, what was actually happening was by timesing it by 2, we were changing it. Instead of having 1/3, we've got 2, 6. And so what we've done is divided the 1/3 into 2 and end up with 2 over 6. And that is what we've done. By timesing by 2 on the bottom and the top, we've actually cut the cake, the 1/3, in half again, and we've ended up with 2 pieces instead of 1. So this is what you do with fractions when you have the denominators different.